Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Right, I'll start with Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Right, I'll start this week with a welcome. Welcome back to Chris. He's rejoined us. He's back off his social media hiatus. Welcome back, mate. We've really missed you, as you probably. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Take 4, 5, 6. I've lost count. It's not been going particularly well this morning, but we have high hopes it's going to pick up from here on in. I'll start with a welcome back. Welcome back, Chris. He's back off his social media hiatus. I hope everything's okay, mate. It's really good to have you back. We have so missed you, as you probably gathered from that first post that you put on a couple of days ago, and basically everybody jumping on you saying, we've really missed you, mate, it's good to have you back, blah blah. And it is good to have you back, mate. So hope you settle back in okay, and look forward to seeing you posting again very soon. And also a quick hi to Rick and Gareth. They met up, I think it was yesterday, for a screening of One Night Rental at the Straight to Video store in Alfreton. They did a little video from outside the screening, basically giving people shout outs, including me. So thanks for that, guys, much appreciated. And also a thanks to Rick for last weekend. We had a bit of a chat over Messenger, I think it was last Sunday night, basically about insecurities, what I was talking about on yesterday's video, which obviously I recorded last weekend. And I was chatting with him about sort of insecurities and stuff like that, and it really helped, mate. It really did. It made me see things a little bit differently. So thanks for that, Rick, much appreciated. I think you missed your vocation in life. You should have been a psychiatrist or a therapist or something, because you're actually quite good at it. So thanks for that, Rick, much appreciated. And I hope you're having a good weekend. Right, I'll start with comments on the last video. Just bear with me. Start with Dave Mansell, as always. Morning, Dave. Awesome group. Really proud to be a part of the group and interacting with you guys. Thanks for that, Dave. Much appreciated. That's a lovely thing to say. I think that was on YouTube, and then you added a little comment on the group. Let's see, great video as always. Love being part of this group, as well as the YouTube community, and interacting with fellow YouTubers, and made friends along the way. I'm never sure on this, you know how you replied on YouTube and then you replied on the group. I'm never sure what the protocol is, whether you should reply to a guy's video or a person's video on YouTube, and if they post it on the Facebook group, do you comment on that as well, or do you post on either, neither? So what's the protocol? Does anybody know? Is it nicer to post on the actual YouTube page, the channel, or on the group, or both? So good to hear from you, Dave. Another Dave Taylor, my old cohort from work. Morning, Dave. Tony, great vid as always. Cheers, Dave. Welcome back, Chris, he says. Scott, little one for you here. Don't take any notice of the idiots. Their opinions don't matter one bit. We did this last week and basically said that their opinions mean absolutely nothing. Fuck all. So thanks for that, Dave. Stuart, morning, Stu. Hanny Calder is in my top 10 favourite westerns. It's fantastic. I've never seen it. I do remember it being part of a Super 8 trailer reel that I bought way back in I think it would have been the early 80s. They used to do sort of 10-15 minute trailer reels, usually included 3 or 4. I remember one being The Curse of the Crimson Altar, Witchfinder General. Hanny Calder was another one. So I remember watching those trailers over and over again, because I didn't have a massive Super 8 collection, so I had to keep kind of playing the same ones over and over. So I saw that trailer a lot, and promised myself at the time that I would look that film up if ever I could, and I don't think I ever saw it on TV. So now I'm definitely going to be ordering a copy of that from Amazon, I think, because it looks amazing. I looked at the trailer, the full trailer last week, brought back some memories, I'll tell you. And I looked at it and thought, my God, that looks a bit raw for a Western from about, what, 1968, something like that? Was it later than that? But yes, I will be checking it out and I'll let you know what I think of it. But if Raquel Welch is in it, I'm fairly sure it's going to be good. And you've got some other stars in there who I cannot remember for the life of me. But it looks like a star-studded affair, so I will be taking a look at that. You mentioned about turning movies off halfway through. I have never done that ever. I tend to give films a chance all the way through. I have watched some terrible movies over the years, though, even frigging Mamma Mia, for fuck's sake. There's nothing wrong with Mamma Mia. It wasn't my favourite. I'm a huge ABBA fan, but I've got to admit, I had trouble getting on with Mamma Mia. I kind of enjoy it more now that I've seen it 2 or 3 times. But the first time I watched it, I thought, no, not for me. So I do kind of get that. As for turning movies off halfway through, it is a rare thing that I will do that. The only time I will ever do that is if I start to fall asleep halfway through it, and I want to make sure that I see the end, so I will turn it off and come back to it at a later date, which I did with my Never Seen for this week. I've actually watched that in about 3 sections, not because it was boring, but because I've just been feeling really tired recently, and I tend to fall asleep very, very easily nowadays. So I do kind of get that, but usually I will watch a movie all the way through, even if it is in 2 or 3 segments. It is rare that I will turn a movie off because I'm literally bored of it. I will always, like you, watch it through to the end. I always think that if I've invested sort of 30, 40, 50 minutes in a film, I might as well see it through. So that's how I look at it. But I know a lot of people just stick it for about 20 minutes, and if it doesn't hook them straight away, off it goes. You know what I'm talking about. So, 5 movies I hate that other people love. Here we go, this is one of the lists. Harry Potter. I've only ever seen the first one. Sorcerer's Stone, or Philosopher's Stone, which I enjoyed, but I wasn't exactly sort of fired up to watch the rest of them. Now I have got a box set that I was bought for Christmas a couple of years ago, so I do intend to take a look at them. Whether they will sort of bear repeated viewings is another matter, but I will have a look at them. The first one was okay. Again, maybe I watched it on the wrong day, I don't know. Matrix just confused the hell out of me. I remember watching it, coming to the end of it and thinking, I barely got any of that. Whether it would make more sense now, highly unlikely, but whether it would, I don't know. But I would be willing to give it another go. But it's certainly not classed as one of my favourites, definitely not. Hellraiser. I quite enjoyed Hellraiser. It wasn't quite what I thought it was going to be. And again, it's one of those that I remember coming into the video store probably about 1987-ish. There was a big hoo-ha about it then, about the gore and all this sort of thing. But I gave it a go and really, really enjoyed it. So I've got to disagree with you on that one. Fast and Furious. I've only ever seen the first one. I did buy a box set of 1 to 6. Basically, I thought that was going to be it. And now we're up to 10, or X as they call it. I enjoyed the first one, I suppose. It's one of those movies. It's a typical lads movie, isn't it? It's all loud music, loud engines, and women. That's all it is. But it was enjoyable enough, and I must have enjoyed it to the extent as I bought that box set, which I've not chipped into yet. But it was okay, I suppose. Mamma Mia, yeah, we've covered that one. Absolutely didn't like that one. Are you an ABBA fan and just didn't like the movie like me, or are you just not an ABBA fan so it was never going to work? In which case I would definitely not recommend Muriel's Wedding, which is a brilliant Australian comedy starring Toni Collette, but it has got the most, to me, amazing ABBA soundtrack. I thought that film was brilliant, but if you're not an ABBA fan, you will not enjoy Muriel's Wedding either. We were talking about comments that wind people up as far as YouTube videos go. I think this was part of what Scott was doing. Another comment that winds me up is if I buy something and they say you won't like it or it's not something you'll like, how the fuck do you know what I'll like? Within this group, I think we pretty much know what each other likes. We do get thrown the occasional curveball with somebody saying that they enjoyed a movie and me thinking, my God, I never thought in a million years they'd get on with that one. But I think generally we pretty much know the kind of movies that we enjoy. But yeah, it does irritate me. I would rather make my own mind up. I'd rather pop the film on and have a watch and then come away from it and say, you know what, you were right, I didn't like it. Or you were completely wrong, I actually thought it was brilliant, which happens a lot within this group. So thanks for that, Stu. Good to hear from you, mate, as always. Steve Mack, our Criterion guy. Morning, Steve. My 5 hates tend to fall into more puerile humour. American Pie. I don't mind the American Pie films. I think 1 and 2 were the best. I didn't like the wedding one very much, and the reunion one was okay. But it's that kind of humour. It was all started with Animal House and stuff like that, wasn't it? And then we got a whole slew of them. So it's the kind of thing that you either like or you don't. I'm not a massive fan of the In-Betweeners, which is kind of American Pie in this country, innit? But not a massive fan. I have seen it and I've watched them all because Rob loves it. But given the choice, I would probably not watch them again. And as for the movies, I've only seen them once, and that was enough. So, what else have we got here? The Hangover. Never seen it, but I'm guessing that is a very similar thing to American Pie. A Serbian film. Oof. A difficult and uncomfortable watch, but I did seek it out because of the controversy. Hated it. There's nothing much to like about that film. It's one of those movies that you watch, as you say, because you hear all the fuss that's being made about it, and you think it must have some kind of redeeming feature to it. It must have. And then you watch it and all you're left with is a really bad taste. It's a horrible film, a really horrible film. One watch and that is it. Somebody did mention this to me at work a few weeks back, asked me whether I'd seen it, and I said that I had a long time ago, and I'd only watched it like you, Steve, because of the controversy surrounding it, and you wanted to see whether it lived up to it, which it absolutely did. And they asked me whether I'd watch it again, and I said no, highly unlikely. I've seen it, and unfortunately there are scenes in that movie that you can't unsee, and I think you know the sequence that I'm talking about. It was just vile. So I can't see me ever watching it again. I'd be very surprised if somebody persuaded me to watch that, and that's not a challenge, Tony, by the way, because I will absolutely flatly refuse to watch that one again. And the all-women Ghostbusters, Answer the Call. You obviously didn't answer the call. It just didn't work, you said. I've not seen it yet. This is another one that I get the feeling that I'm going to watch it and think, well, it's not that bad, but we'll see when I actually get round to it. And Cats. The movie based on the Lloyd Webber musical, absolutely horrendous and very creepy. Never seen it because I'm not overly a fan of musicals based on stage musicals. I don't know why. It's a similar sort of thing to I won't watch movies based on computer games, because I know that I wouldn't be keen on them. I know I wouldn't. I did see a trailer to a movie called Silent Hill years and years ago, and watched the trailer and thought, that looks amazing, gotta watch that. Went on to find out a bit more about it, discovered that it was based on a computer game and thought, no, forget it, not going to bother with that one, and I never did. So it's unlikely that I'll watch Cats. Again, if there are enough sort of negative reviews and this, that and the other, curiosity may get the better of me with that one, so we'll see. Thanks for that, Steve, good to hear from you. Jason K, our Ginger Ninja, morning mate. Another great vid, Tony. Cheers, Jay. You have cultivated a great group here, Tony. Never a bad word has been spoken, just a bunch of good people sharing their passion for cinema. World will be a better place if more people were like that. Thanks so much, mate. It's always good to hear compliments based on obviously the group that you're a part of and this, that, and the other. I think, as I've always said, I think we've got something really, really special here, and very, very unique. But I say it's always good to hear something positive in amongst all the negativity, which I don't get. To be fair, I don't get negative comments within the group. I think Jason, you've got something to say about that a little bit later with your comment, but it. I don't think if there was anybody within the group that was just completely negative towards content and stuff like that, they'd basically be chucked out because none of us would tolerate it. Yeah, it's always good to hear. Thanks for that, Jay. Much appreciated, mate. And yeah, Scott's rant was fucking epic. He brought up a lot of valid points. He certainly did. Enough to take up the first 30 minutes of last week's video. So it was quite a rant, and I get the feeling that a few months down the line we may get another one. I don't know, because I'm fairly sure he would have forgotten a few bits that he would wish to bring to our attention, but we'll see. I'm really looking forward to the Red. I can't wait to watch this. This is so far up my street you wouldn't believe it. This is the zombie kangaroo. I mean, oh God. Just the description, the synopsis. How could you not? Do you know what I mean? How do you go with Nightmare Sisters? It's basically a teenage dream. I've not seen it yet. I'm going to be taking a look at your review of it when I finish this. And then I will grab a copy of Nightmare Sisters and take a look. I don't see any. It's a sort of mid to late 80s sort of thing, isn't it? So it's gonna have merits. I know it will. And if you're talking about it, it's got to be worth a look. So I will be taking a look at that. Attack the Block is a fun one. I wouldn't say it's as good as Shaun of the Dead, but it's close. I'd heard of it, but not seen it, and I knew very little about what it was about. So when I got lent the Blu-ray last week, and I will be taking a look at that over the next few days, I read the back and thought, oh, this sounds interesting. You know, basically a block of flats being attacked by aliens, if I've got it right. So I will be taking a look at that with great interest, and I will let you know what I think when I've watched it. So thanks for that, Jay. Brilliant to hear from you. Mark. Morning, Mark. Where do I start? When you mentioned making money online, I just straight away had visions of you making an OnlyFans account. Now, me being old, I had no idea what an OnlyFans is, so I went and had a look. And you've got fuck all chance of me doing that. If what I've read is right, highly, highly unlikely. No, I shall stick with Amazon and sell it on places like that. OnlyFans. No. Can you see it? Do you want to see it? Is that an image that you'd be able to get out of your head at any point? I think not. Oh God. I'm going to start a betting syndicate on the grounds of when you will or won't open that bloody air fryer. I've opened it. I'm lying. I haven't opened it. It's still behind me. When I finish this, if I've got time, I will unbox it and actually get it onto the kitchen counter. I will not be videoing me taking it out of the box, basically because I can't be arsed. It's going to be too much effort because I've got to point the camera at the box and then make sure that I'm in frame. Oh God. But I will definitely do a quick video of what it looks like, and also the very first thing that I actually cook in it. So yeah, leave that with me again. I always knew there was fuck all in the cup. All these years have been a lie. No, they haven't. I'd actually drank what was in the cup that time, which is why I tipped it up. If I tipped it up now, I'd end up with a lap full of tea. So there usually is stuff in the cup. I drank it before I pressed record and just basically held on to it like my comfort blanket. So it wasn't a lie, I promise you. It's just occasionally I do tend to hold on to the empty cup. I don't know, I just do. Time Bandits. I've never seen it, but it sounds decent. Another one from my never seen thread, I think. I think you'd like it. It's early 80s, directed by Terry Gilliam, so it's got a real Python-esque sort of humour streak running right through the middle of it. It's it's just an enjoyable fantasy romp, and you've got people like John Cleese, you've got Sean Connery, Shelley Duvall is in it. Um, it's just really, really enjoyable. Um, I'd be very curious to know what you make of it. So if you do watch it, please do a review of that because I would love to know what you think of it. I saw it at the pictures when it first came out, and I loved it, and I've seen it loads of times since. I've got to take a look at that Blu-ray that Steve Mack sent me. I need to take a look at that because I haven't seen it for quite a few years. But watching the first episode of the Apple Plus TV series last week has definitely made me want to rediscover that movie. So, yeah, if you do take a look at it, Mark, let us know what you think because I'd be very curious. But I think I'm going to go out on a limb and say I think you'll I think you'll enjoy it. But let's see. Um, Guy, you replied to Mark's comment. Well, that'll be me not using the term Tony time anymore. Is that to do with the cup? You can use it if you want. It's not that big a deal. It was empty that day. Um, but as I say, usually, like now, it's got tea or herbal tea. So, oh God, Guy, back onto onto your comment. Thanks for that, Mark. By the way, always good to hear from you as always. And I've got more coming up from you later because you've also kindly sent me a list of 5 films. Guy, great vid, mate. Cheers, Guy. Big love to Scott. He deserves it. It sounds like he's been through a rough time with these bloody naysayers, but he's got it all sorted now, so he'll appreciate that. Big hello to Chris. Oh, what was I going to say then? See, this happens to me a lot. This happens to me an awful lot. If this had been 30 seconds into the video, I'd have stopped it and started again. Occasionally, and it happens a lot at work, I'll walk up to somebody and I'll go to say something and it's like, oh, and they'll say what? I don't know. I was going to say something to you. I've forgotten what it was. And that just happened. Big hello to Chris. Yes, it's good to have Chris back. Star Trek the motion picture. Oh dear. It doesn't matter how visually stunning it is. Shit is still shit. How dare you, sir? Classic. Absolute classic. Are you a fan of Star Trek at all? And is it just the movie that you're not keen on? Because Dave Lowe basically said the same thing, that Star Trek the motion picture is just a lot of scenes of the Enterprise being toured around. Stuff like that. There's nothing really going on. And if you took all those scenes out, I think he said the film would last about 17 minutes. So, yeah, I'd be curious to know whether you're actually a Star Trek fan and you just didn't like that particular movie. I don't remember Michael Bentine's Potty Time, as at the time I only existed as, I can't even say that. I don't know why, but I can't say that. Basically, you only existed as the contents of your daddy's testicles, is what you're trying to say. In other words, it's way before your time. And I do forget when I do these shows that I grew up with, I keep forgetting I'm probably the oldest member on the group or one of them. And obviously you guys are not going to remember a lot of the shows that I grew up with. Same as I won't know a lot of the shows that you grew up with because I was usually at work when they were on. So I do kind of get that. So thanks, Guy. Good to hear from you as usual. Scott. Morning, Scott. Absolutely awesome stuff, Tony, my friend. Thank you so much for the kind words, mate. Always great to hear that you enjoy the content. I've always enjoyed your videos, dude. Always. Yeah, I definitely let off some steam in that rant video for sure. You're not arrogant at all, Tony. You don't show off. When you talk about films, you do it because you enjoy talking about them, and that's the best way to do it. I was basically saying, I think Scott said that he's sick of arrogant sods holding films special editions up and saying you can't get this anymore, but I've got it, look. And I said that I do show off movies and my collection, but not in a sort of an arrogant way. It's just in a, this is what I've just bought. You put me right on why you took a break from social media. I naturally assumed that it was because of some kind of a story of something that had happened. And it wasn't. No, I just took a break from social media because it was sort of consuming me. Same as Sam, he did the same thing, which is the worst thing that could happen. But yeah, I'm all good, mate. The video needed to be done, and I felt so much better after doing it and after letting off all that lovely steam. In terms of YouTube, I will still only be uploading videos every now and then, but there will definitely be more videos in the future to look out for. Good to hear, mate. Good to hear. Also, yes, it is the video that has gotten the most comments on my channel for sure. It was great to see that people agree with what I was saying. It's true, there are a lot of people in the YouTube community, especially people that run, as I said last week, smaller personal channels like ours, that will absolutely agree with everything that you say. Which is why you should basically take no notice of anybody that says anything bad concerning your channel or your content. Basically, if you don't like the material, just jog on. Nobody's keeping you there. So yeah, and I agree with it, obviously. Also, yes. Oh, I've read that. Yeah, I did assume that video would get a lot more comments than your usual content, let's say. So yeah, I definitely get that. Definitely looking forward to watching 1 Million Years BC. Been wanting to watch it for years, but just never got round to it. It's a cracking movie, it really is. It's probably not one of Harryhausen's best, but I think you will enjoy it. If you've enjoyed movies like The Seventh Voyage of Sinbad, The Valley of Gwangi, that was a good one. Clash of the Titans, 1 Million Years BC, you've got to watch it, definitely. So look forward to hearing what you think of that one. Keep up the great work, Tony. There'll be some more karaoke versions from me on the socials in the future as well. Dear Christ. I haven't watched it yet, but I get the feeling you've absolutely destroyed Message in a Bottle by the Police, but I will take a look at it later on. It's actually one of my favourite songs ever. When it was first released in, let's see, about 1979 or 1980. I bought it and it was never off the record player. Record player, show me age now. Off the record, but it was never off. I absolutely loved it. So I'm ever so slightly reluctant to watch that video of you doing a karaoke version, but I will have a look because I'm curious, because the others have been absolutely hysterical, so I will be taking a look at that. Glad you enjoyed. What have I done with it? This one, I believe you watched this and quite enjoyed it. This is one of my favourite thrillers ever. I absolutely adore it. I remember seeing it probably one Christmas many years ago. Fell in love with it. It reminded me so much of a TV series called Thriller that used to screen on ITV as it was back then. And the music in that series was done by the same guy that did the music for And Soon the Darkness, Brian Clemens, and it fits the atmosphere of the movie and the series perfectly. I think it's Brian Clemens. I think I've got that right. Yes, I'm sure it is. I'll have to have a look. But I'm glad you enjoyed it. It's one of my favourites, and I did not see the ending coming at all. So yeah, glad you enjoyed that. Great to hear from you, Scott. Let's see. Jason P. I need to take a break before I start on this one. This is like Ben-Hur. I'll be back in a sec, guys. And we're back. Right, on with comments. On to Jason. Morning, Jay. Early watch for me today. Great video as always. Cheers, Jay. Good job. I took notes. He's actually done bullet points today. Number one, don't ever see doing these videos as a chore. You have to enjoy it, which I know you do, because when you don't do one, you always talk about how much you miss doing it. You had the opportunity for a break a few weeks ago when you was poorly, but you still did one because you missed it. It's true. It's true. I don't see the videos as a chore as such. There are weekends, obviously, we all get this, when you just think, I just can't be arsed. But if I did, I know for a fact that if I were to go into the other room, put a couple of films on and not do a video, halfway through the first film, if that, I'll be thinking, oh no, I should be doing it, I should be doing it, I know I should, and I want to do it. So yeah, they're not a chore. They're not. You just obviously get the odd weekend when you're just not in the mood. Simple as that. Or especially when it goes wrong, like it has done for the last few weeks. It's not been going too bad this morning, apart from the few false starts, but you get that anyway. So really appreciate that, Jace. But I promise you, I will never see it as a chore or a job. It's always a pleasure, and it's always nice to sit here talking to you guys, as you know. So, bullet point number 2, Reese Scott's video. We all have our different tastes in movies, as this group shows. You enjoy your shitty bad animal attack B movies. Never thought of it like that. And Mark won't watch anything made before 1985, and he hates carry-on films. He does. He doesn't like them, does he? I always say with older films, it's what you grow up with, and it's true. It is very true. A lot of the movies that I love from the sort of the 50s, 60s, and 70s, especially the 70s, because that's the decade mostly that I grew up in. So a lot of the movies from that decade, I'm fairly sure you wouldn't grow up, you wouldn't like the French Connection, stuff like that. I loved the French Connection. The first time I watched it, I thought it was a little bit boring. The second time I watched it, really, really enjoyed it. But I'm fairly sure that if you watched French Connection, have you done that on your Never Seen thread, Jay? Because if you haven't had, I'd highly recommend you give it a go. I'm just curious to see what you'll make of it. But yeah, it is, again, it's what you grow up with. And if you haven't grown up with these movies, you're not going to like them. Which is, as you say, why Mark won't watch anything before 1985. But he'll have to if he's going to take on Time Bandits, because that's from, I think, 1980 or 81. But Mark, I don't think you'll regret it. I really don't. I don't like the old Frankenstein or Dracula movies, stuff like that, or ropey dinosaur movies, but I love Clash of the Titans and Jason and the Argonauts because it's what I grew up with. Same as The Wizard of Oz. People watching that now will think it's a bag of shit. I hope not. But I love it, and I have the Blu-ray too. I've got the Blu-ray of that one. It's just classic. To me, it's classic Christmas entertainment. And I always remember the first time it was screened on the BBC. I believe it was a Christmas day. And I think it was 1976. Yes, I do remember stupid things like that, but I can't remember why I walked into a room. But it was premiered on BBC One, Christmas 1976. If you want to verify that fact, Jay, be my guest. But I'm fairly sure I'm right on that, because I used to keep diaries back then when I was a kid, and I've got one upstairs from 1976, and I'm fairly sure I mentioned The Wizard of Oz in one of the entries in that as being the big Christmas Day film. I'm fairly sure of it, but I'd be curious to know if you can actually verify that one, Jay, because you used to do that sort of thing years ago, didn't you? But again, Wizard of Oz. A lot of kids today would just watch it and think, "Oh God," but this is what we grew up with. Let's see. So Scott, carry on with what you want to watch and hope the fucktards leave you be. Like Tony says, we only have friendly banter in the group, but it's all done in good fun. One person tried to be a cock a few years ago on a thread I did. I quickly put him in his place, and he removed himself from the group and was never seen again. This is what you get if you cross Jason. He makes people just disappear. They leave, they go. Never see them again. Don't know what happens to them, but sorry. Making Jay sound like the bloody Godfather. It's bloody hard to do a video, so hats off to those that do them. If I saw you in the street, I could talk all day, but talking to the phone is a different story. I struggle to do a 2-minute video to the grandkids, so high five to you guys that put yourselves in front of the camera. Cheers, Jay. Like I said this last week, if you've not done it, you don't know how hard it can be. Not all the time, but some weeks it absolutely will not gel. And if you've tried to do, as you've done videos, Jay, did you do one about 15-20 minutes once? I'm sure you did. But you did say to me that first one you did was about 2 or 3 minutes, and you said it was really hard. And it can be. just sitting here reading off notes, and I probably make it look ridiculously easy because I'm sure all you think I'm doing is just reading off these, but obviously those notes have to be cut and pasted from the group and onto a document. I have to not edit them. Oh, we've been through this before, and I got shot down in flames, didn't I? I have to go through them, and if I spot something that's not quite right, I like alter a word or a sentence or something to make it more readable for me. Um, but there is a lot of work involved in it. But mostly, the difficult bit is just sitting here and keeping going and not falling apart at the seams like I do some weeks. So it's good to know that you appreciate that, and that you know that it isn't as easy as maybe I make it look. So thanks for that, Jay. 3, I've never purchased a film ever on streaming. I've got the Free Sky ones over the years, but that's it. I've got probably 3 or 4 that I've purchased on streaming. One is about the making of I Spit on Your Grave, a 90-minute sort of documentary and retrospective of the movie, which I've wanted for ages, and I could only find it on Amazon Prime. And I believe I've got one called Out of Print, which is about my beloved New Beverly Cinema in Hollywood, Los Angeles. A documentary about the cinema, the movies it shows, the people who go there, what it's like there. I just wanted it. I really, really wanted it. And as much as I've tried to find it, there are there are DVDs out there, but the Region 1, I just really wanted it. So I grabbed that one. And I do believe there's another one, but I can't think what it is. But I've probably got 3 or 4. Number 4, 3D movies. I saw Freddy's Dead at the cinema, and the last 15 minutes we all put our glasses on. I remember seeing this on I think it was VHS. Reminds me of the scene in Gremlins where they are in the cinema watching a film in 3D. The 3D was bloody awful. Also seen G-Force at the cinema in 3D. That was okay. But the best movie we saw at the cinema in 3D was Jim Carrey's Disney's Christmas Carol. It was brilliant. Snow falling, and the scene where he is flying around was just magical. That's one version of A Christmas Carol that I've not seen, and I do need to take it in. And I can imagine, I've seen the animation in the trailer, and I can imagine that if that was in 3D, that would look absolutely stunning. So I kind of get that. But usually, as we said last week, 3D in the 80s and before was pretty primitive, and it was, i.e. Jaws 3. Number 5. We're back to weight and diet. Yes, I'm 20 stone at the minute. So want to get to 19 stone by December the 1st. 18 stone is pushing it a bit. 5 years ago, I was 25 stone. Really? Believe it or not. I sort of carry it well as I'm 6'3". But 5 years ago, my first granddaughter turned 1 and was very active, and I wasn't. So this gave me the determination to lose weight, as I needed to be around a little longer for them. And I couldn't get up off the floor. Oh my God. Watching me get up off the floor, and it happens at work every day. We've got this floor scrubber, not a handheld. It's like a Hoover that you push along, and it like scrubs and cleans the wooden floor in like the canteen and the corridors. And after every use, it needs cleaning. And obviously, I can only do that by putting it on the floor, taking all the bits off. And when I've done that, I stand up, and it must be like watching a baby giraffe standing for the first time. It's horrendous. And I didn't realise until the first time I did that just how bad it was. So I absolutely get that, Jace. And we don't realise, do we, over the years, how much weight just creeps on. Over the years, you barely notice it. I remember you when you used to come in the video shop, and there was nothing on you. You were as skinny as fuck. And to see you now, it's like, is that the same guy? But 25 stone, you must carry it well, because I'd have never put you at that. Guy said he couldn't believe you were 20 stone, as he's the same weight. I wouldn't have thought that either. I met Guy a few weeks ago outside the local co-op, and we chatted for a few minutes. I would never have put you at 20 stone, Guy, never in a million years. So all of a sudden I feel quite good about myself. But I don't, because as I said, the difficulty I get when I get on the floor, having to get back up again, is not good. So I do need to keep on with what I'm doing, and the weight is coming down very, very slightly. I lost a pound last week. It doesn't sound much, but I would rather take it off very, very slowly and gradually and keep it off than go on one of these stupid crash diets where you eat bugger all and it's sort of coming off at £3-4 a week. Don't want that. Just want it nice and steady and keep it off. As I said last week, I think you're going to be my inspiration with this. So I will let you know when I start posting on my life goals at 62, as it's going to be now. I think I'm just going to have to call it in my 60s and just leave it at that. Number 6, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves is one of my favourite movies of all time. Ignore the theatrical cut and watch the extended cut. It makes a lot of difference. I have the same Blu-ray as you, and you don't hear much of the song really, hardly any if I remember. I will be taking it in. That will be a good movie for my never seen thread, which kicked off yesterday. So yes, I will be bringing that one down at some point, and that will be one of my never seen movies. Number 7, Waterworld. We're talking about Waterworld. I had a bit of a Kevin Costner splurge on Amazon the week before last. Waterworld is okay. I got rid of my DVD a few years ago as I know I wouldn't watch it again. I don't know why. I just got this impression that you loved that movie. Am I thinking of somebody else? I must be. Number 8, films everyone loves, but fuck knows why. Oh dear. Godfather. What? Again, grew up with it, saw it one Christmas, late night on BBC One, 3 hours. I was just enthralled by the whole thing, and I've loved it ever since. I haven't seen Godfather 2 for years. Godfather 3 I wasn't really taken with, but I do need to have another go at it. And I also want to watch the series on Paramount Plus about the making of The Godfather, which I would find absolutely fascinating, but absolutely can't agree with you on that one. Fast and the Furious. Yeah, I covered this one a bit earlier. Watched the first one, thought it was okay, but to me it was just a typical lads movie, just loud cars, loud music and birds, that's all it was. But I will take a look at 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, seeing as I've got the box set. And if I do that, I might as well go up to 10. Whether they're finished now, I don't know. Once Upon a Time... Oh, Avatar. Not seen it, I don't know. I think Chris would have something to say about that. I did purchase the Blu-ray of I think it was the extended cut, or the director's cut, or something like that, a while ago, but I've not watched it yet. That's one that I've really got to be in the right mood for, and basically put aside 2.5, maybe 3 hours for. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Oh, we're going to agree to disagree on this one. I loved it, absolutely loved it. I thought Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio were absolutely superb in this. It's classic Tarantino. The only thing I didn't agree with in it is the fact that it wasn't historically accurate as regards the Manson murders. It was done very, very differently. But as a movie, it was absolutely superb. Did not enjoy the scene with the fireplace at the end, not one bit. But the movie itself, absolutely superb, and I look forward to watching it again. So, strike one or strike two. Guardians of the Galaxy. Never seen it, but I've heard good things about it. Mostly that it's got a cracking 70s soundtrack. Out of all the Marvel movies that I've not seen, that is probably one of the ones that I'm sort of up for watching, along with Ant-Man, that I've also heard good things about. And I do need to kick off this Marvel journey again at some point, but do you know what? I'm in no hurry to do it. I'm really not. The next one is Thor, which I think I've been saying for months. So I do kind of get that one, and you put there's probably more. You'll have to list us some more. I love talking about these. Yeah, send us another 5, or put another 5 on Jay, or 10. Number 9, welcome back, Chris. Missed you, mate. We've all missed Chris, haven't we? It's not been the same without him. And like I said last week, it's never the same when somebody falls off the perch through illness or whatever. You always miss them because you miss their content. You just miss them being there. And that's mostly what it is. We're so used to each other. And number 10, have a good week. Have a good week, Tony. Cheers, Jay. Much appreciated. So that's Jason. And you also put a little review of Deadpool versus Wolverine. I'm halfway through the original Deadpool at the moment, the second viewing. And I have to say, I'm enjoying it a lot more than I did the first time round. So if it keeps on going the way it's going, I'm probably going to come out of it with a completely different opinion to the one I had the last time I watched it, which wasn't exactly very positive. But your review of Deadpool versus Wolverine, just been to see this at the cinema, and it is brilliant. I got tears in my eyes from laughing. Other film references, cameos, piss takes, lines that no other film would dare do. I must admit, some of the lines of dialogue in the original Deadpool sort of made me go, "Oh, ow!" I felt that one. I'm glad I didn't read any spoilers for this, otherwise it would have ruined the cameos. Now I'm definitely looking forward to watching it. I did watch the trailer for this a couple of weeks back, and it did make me think I really need to take in the original Deadpool again, which I'm sort of halfway through doing. So it served its purpose. Rob Gear, you commented, was an amazing film, was laughing my head off. Lee said, you said, it's tremendously entertaining and hilariously funny. It looks it does. It looks like the kind of movie that I could actually get on with. I just need to catch up with the other two first before I take that one on. You were also talking of renting VHS tapes. This was a post that you put on. Basically saying that, does anybody remember going to Blockbusters with the dad and this, that and the other. I remember Blockbusters well, obviously. Talking of that, I think the first film I rented would have been a Betamax movie from the corner shop, as they were cheaper than the main video shops. They had a few films on one of those spinning display things, a bit like one of those where you view sunglasses. I remember them well. You had about 20 films to choose from and they would cost you 50p to rent. So what was this film, you may ask? Fuck knows, but I'm casting my mind back to about 1984-5, and there it is in its original cardboard slip sleeve case. Splash. Never seen it. Don't know why. Never appealed to me. Don't know why. It just didn't seem like my kind of film. Daryl Hannah and Tom Hanks, I believe. I mean, now I probably would take a look at it, so maybe that's another one to add to my never seen thread. Name one movie that made you walk out of the cinema before the film finished. This was a post that you put on, I think. In about 300 visits to the cinema in the last 35 years, there's only one movie I've ever walked out on. That was Presumed Innocent with Harrison Ford. I thought that was all right. Two other films I would have walked out on, but I was pissed and just wanted somewhere to rest my head and sober up a bit. And these were those stupid 1am showings at Derby Showcase. Never went to one. These films were Ski Patrol and Salute of the Jugger. Ski Patrol, I'm gathering, is some kind of American Pie type comedy set in a ski resort, I'm guessing. Salute of the Jugger, I heard good things about this. Is this Rutger Hauer? Need to look that one up. Jason K, you said none. If I'm hesitant, I won't go. Interesting viewpoint. Guy, you said Batman and Robin. When he pulled out the back credit card, I was done. Back credit card? Seriously? I've not seen that one, so I can't comment. Have you watched any of the Batman movies since? I've only ever seen, let's see now, the original 1966 Batman based on the TV series, and I've also seen Batman with Jack Nicholson, Batman Returns with Danny DeVito as the Joker, and I believe that's as far as I went. I've not seen the Christopher Nolan trilogy, not seen any of those. I might have seen a bit of The Dark Knight, because I remember certain bits from it, so I must have seen that one at some point, but I don't remember seeing any of the others, so that's another franchise that I need to give a go. And Jason, you were also talking about Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Forgot to say that Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is streaming on Disney Plus for free. You have to pay on Prime. And I'm in the same predicament as you. Do I watch now, then buy the Blu-ray when it comes down to a tenner around Christmas, or have the joy of fetching the Blu-ray on its release date? I have a list for HMV anyway. I could actually watch them all, Rise, Dawn, War and Kingdom on Disney Plus without having to move off the sofa. Decisions. I think I'm going to end up watching Kingdom on Disney Plus. I think that is the next franchise that I'm going to attack now that I've come close to finishing Spider-Man. I think I'm going to attack the Planet of the Apes series. I've already watched the original 5 movies. I do need to revisit the last 4, ideally, before I watch Kingdom. But I think I'm going to try and wrap those up within the next 2 weeks, and I'm going to take on Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes on Disney Plus. That way I won't be buying a 4K, which is going to cost me 25 or 30 quid, and then watch it and think, well, that's average. So, Mark, you commented, it's not great in my opinion. Yeah, I think you quite enjoyed it, but I don't think you enjoyed it as much as you thought you were going to do. Jason, you replied, I think I'll like it. I love all the original movies that you don't. So we shall see. Now there's a perfect never seen for you, the 1968 original Planet of the Apes. I would actually challenge you to watch that one, Mark. The original Planet of the Apes is an absolute 100% stone cold classic. I've seen it many times. I'll bet you I've seen Planet of the Apes more than I've seen Saturday Night Fever or Close Encounters, and that's saying something. I went through a period probably a year ago. If I used to go up for a nap in the afternoon, which I did every Saturday, I used to put Planet of the Apes on. I used to watch it pretty much every week. I loved it, absolutely adored it, even more than the first time I watched it. So yeah, I would definitely challenge you, Mark, to watch the original Planet of the Apes and basically let me know, or us know, how you get on with it, and more importantly, how far you got with it, whether you watched it all the way through or not. Yeah, that's a definite challenge. Let's see now. You're never seen it, Jace, this week. Let's see. The Killing Fields. Classic movie. Loved it. Sidney Schamberg, from 1984, isn't it? Sidney Schamberg is a New York Times journalist covering the civil war in Cambodia. Together with local journalist Dith Pran, they cover some of the tragedy and madness of the war. I loved this film. Well, I say loved it. It was a dark piece, but really good. So another one of those movies I saw languishing on the video shelves throughout the 80s. Never picked it up, not even sure I knew what it was about. Then for the last 20 years I forgot it even existed. There are many movies that I remember, like you, seeing on the video shelf that I never bothered watching, never even picked up. And now when I see the VHS sleeves on Google or anybody else's posts, I am a lot more interested in watching them now than I would have been back then. Titles like The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai in the Fifth Dimension, Space Hunters, Adventures in the Forbidden Zone. There's loads of them. And if I were to walk down the aisle of a video store now with those titles on the shelf, I will be a lot more interested to watch them now than I was 40 years ago. And I'm beginning to see why you started your Never Seen thread, because you obviously think along the same lines as me on this one. And this would have been one of them had I not already seen it. Let's see, it popped up on Prime for free, so I thought this is the perfect one to watch for the thread, as everyone will know the title. I even said I'd watch it all the way through to say I've seen one of the most talked about movies of the 80s, even though it's on for 2 hours and 20 minutes. As you may have guessed, as it's on this thread, I sat through all 2 hours and 20 minutes of this movie, and now I see why it was one of the most talked about movies of the 80s. It was fucking brilliant. Loved it. Bloody powerful film though. Pissed off with myself for not watching it sooner, but I don't think I'd have enjoyed it as much 30 years ago. It's on Prime for free. Watch it if you haven't seen it. It's a must. I'll be watching it again for sure. See, that's another curveball. I would not have thought you'd have enjoyed it. I don't know why, it just didn't seem like your kind of film, but you surprised me again. So yes, I will be taking a look at that one, absolutely, as a repeat viewing. Another one from the 80s, remember Black Moon Rising? The Wraith, never saw that. There are loads of them. I must go onto Google and put 80s VHS sleeves and see what other gems I can discover that were around in the 80s, especially when I worked in there, that I just never bothered with and probably wished I had. But yeah, that was a good never seen that one, Jace. Looking forward to seeing what you come up with for that one next week. Mark, this is your list. I'm not sure, I can't work out whether this is the films that you hate that everyone else loves or the other way round. I think it's the films that you hate that everyone else loves, or is it? I always get this wrong. Anyway, Mark, as Dave said, I could probably name many more, but these are the first that came to mind. Any Jimmy Bond movie. Jimmy Bond? All the Godfather movies. Oh, for fuck's sake. Oh, this gets worse. Mad Max, only seen the first, don't need to see the rest. Sequelophobia, ring a bell? All the Matrix movies. Okay. Yeah, well, I've only seen the first one and it didn't make any sense to me. And Scarface. You didn't like Scarface. Have I got this the right way round? Or are these movies that you love and everyone else hates? You'll have to let me know on this because I'm very, very curious. That's a hell of a list of movies. If that is your list of movies that you hate and everyone else loves, that's 5 complete and utter curveballs right there. So, right, I'm going to take another quick break and I'll be back with just a few more bits and pieces. Yeah, I've not got that much to go now, so I'll be back in a sec, guys. And we're back. Right, heading into the Fernal Furlong. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Heading into the final furlong is what I was trying to say. That's how today's been. Right, where to start? Sam from Sammy's World of Cinema. You were watching Midnight Cowboy, either last night or the night before, I can't remember. Can't wait to see your review of it. Have you seen it before? Is it a first time watch for you? It is one of my all-time favourites. It was the first American mainstream movie to get an X certificate in the States, and obviously it definitely was an X certificate in the UK when it came over here. Absolutely brilliant movie, totally and utterly faultless. Seen it many times, absolutely adore it. If I've got I tried to find it upstairs in amongst all the different Blu-rays I've got. I've actually got the Criterion Blu-ray of that. But if you enjoy it and you want to know more about it, I would highly recommend this book to you. I've dipped into it and read bits of it. This is basically Shooting Midnight Cowboy, the making of, the background of the movie, the inception of it, all that sort of thing. It looks like a cracking read, the bits that I've read, definitely. But yeah, it's definitely worth a look if you get the chance, and if you enjoy the movie, obviously. So pop that over there. And really enjoyed the third part, or was it part 5? Part 5 of your Arrow collection, which is basically comprised of the video nasties in the Arrow sort of collection. Really enjoyed that. There were some cracking titles in there. Let me go through these. Audition. I've heard about this and I daren't touch it with a barge pole. Beware the bit that's like Misery, I think you mentioned. I think I've heard something about this. I believe somebody at work recommended, well, not recommended, but mentioned it to me. And straight off, as soon as he mentioned that particular scene that you're talking about, I thought, no, that's not going to be for me. So that's probably one that I will not be taking in. The next one was Phantasm, and I was going to show off my Arrow box set. I've forgotten to bring it down, so I'll transfer that over to next week. And I've also got a couple of books based on Phantasm. that I think you will find very interesting. So I'll transfer that over to next week's notes, and I'll make sure that I've got them by my side to show those off to you. Naked Lunch. That was one of your favourite David Cronenberg movies. I've not seen it. It's one that I've looked at and thought that looks really, really strange, but I've never actually got round to it. As for David Cronenberg, favourite movie would have to be probably Videodrome. Really, really enjoyed that. I loved a lot of his earlier works. Shivers and Rabid were just brilliant. The Brood was amazing. What came after? The Fly. Loved The Fly. Just cannot stomach the arm break when he's arm wrestling with that geezer in the cafe. It's just horrible. But the rest of the movie I thought was absolutely superb. But I'm definitely a fan of Cronenberg's early works. Definitely. Psycho box set. My God, that Psycho box set looked absolutely amazing. And that book that comes with it, that'd be worth the price of it on its own. I love all the Psycho movies. The original, to me, is the best. Psycho 2 was, as you say, a worthy sequel, more than a worthy sequel. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. I saw that would have been 1982 at Burton Odeon. I actually purchased the original cinema poster from London. I used to go down to London a lot, and I used to descend on a place called 58 Dean Street Records, which was all movie soundtracks, and another place that dealt with movie posters and memorabilia. This was obviously in the days before the internet, when you didn't just go online and find what you wanted, order it, and it turned up on your door the next day. You had to literally physically write a letter to the shop and ask them to send a printed catalogue. It was all done like that years ago, but that's how we rolled in the 80s. So yeah, that Psycho box set, absolutely amazing. You've not seen the remake, you say? I don't know. I quite enjoyed it. I went into it with the lowest possible expectations and came out of it thinking, you know what, it's not that bad. I obviously remember the first time I heard it was being made, and it was described as being in colour and a shot by shot remake and copy of the original, to which I thought, what's the point? There's absolutely no point to that. But being directed by Gus Van Sant, it's not massively bad. If you were to take a look at it, I'd be very curious to know what you think of it. But I didn't think it was nowhere near as bad as I thought it was going to be. Madhouse, not heard of that one. Eaten Alive. This is a Toby Hooper movie. It was originally titled Death Trap. That was the title that I knew it as, and that is the title I believe it was used on the VHS when that came out. I believe it was called Death Trap and not Eaten Alive. Seen it a long time ago. I would love to see a nice, clean, remastered copy of it, because the VHS that I had was very, very ropey. But I don't remember it being that bad. Zombie Flesh Eaters. Oh my God. Everything apart from the Splinter scene. I cannot stand the Splinter scene. As anybody within the group will tell you, I hate anything to do with eyes. Anything to do with eyes. So that to me was an ultimate nightmare. Good movie though, and a cracking soundtrack. Island of Death. This is one I remember seeing on the VHS, on the VHS shelf, but never was interested in. It just looked cheap and nasty, and which I suppose it was supposed to, but never took it in. So that's one that I probably would have a look at now. The Burning. The late great Dave Oliver was absolutely, he didn't like it. He wasn't keen at all. I thought when he watched it, because he loved his horror, absolutely loved it, I thought he was going to come back and say that's one of the best examples of a sort of a slasher gore movie I think I've ever seen. But he came back saying it was just mediocre, not impressed at all. So that really surprised me. I thought it was brilliant. Obviously the scene with the fingers didn't go down well. But as a Friday the 13th, I wouldn't call it a rip-off, but as a Friday the 13th sort of style of movie. I thought it was okay, really, really good. A good Rick Wakeman soundtrack, as you said. The Funhouse, brilliant. Toby Hooper, 8 years after he did the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, uh, I just thought it was superb. Loved it. I just recently bought it on Blu-ray. I need to take a look at it again because I've not seen it for many, many years. But I love the Funhouse. Absolutely adore it. And a lot of people don't know that he did more than just the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. He obviously made the Salem's Lot series, the David Soul series in 1977, I believe, which was absolutely amazing. And he's done quite a few others that were just brilliant, but the Funhouse, superb. Driller Killer. Can't say I was impressed with it. I do remember watching it again due to the controversy that surrounded it, and I do remember watching it and thinking, apart from the scene with the drill between the eyes, I couldn't see anything good about it. It just wasn't my type of thing. A lot of movies you'll watch and you'll think there's a really good movie in there somewhere, but it's just not come out at all. It didn't do that for me, that one. So Tenebrae, got it on Blu-ray, bought it ages ago but not watched it yet. I was going to go on an Italian giallo movie, Odyssey, but never got round to it. I'm hoping I can kick this Australian season off soon, otherwise that's going to fall by the wayside as well. Don't Go in the House. This is the one with the guy in the incinerator, isn't it? The flamethrower. I do remember seeing it years and years ago. I don't remember much about it apart from that. Whether I liked it or not, I can't remember. It's another one that I need to take in again. House by the Cemetery. I don't remember the name Bob being overused, but I've only ever seen it probably twice, something like that. And I know what you mean about the dubbing with the little kid. It was pretty bad. It really was. It just wasn't the voice of a kid that was coming out of me. I don't know what went wrong there, but the film itself was okay. Contamination, never seen it. I do remember the lead actor. Can't remember his name now. He was actually more famous for being in a British TV series called Survivors, which was written by Terry Nation, who invented the Daleks for Doctor Who. He was absolutely brilliant in that, and I can't remember his bloody name, but he was really good in that. But I've not seen Contamination. Can't wait to see, let's see, your 88 films and Severin collection. The Severin Blu-rays, are they multi-region or region-free, I should say? I keep hearing a lot about Severin movies on the Pure Cinema podcast. They talk about them a lot because a lot of sort of cult horror movies are released on the Severin label. So I'd be curious to know whether your Severin Blu-rays are actually region free, because if so, I'll be taking a look at their catalogue and possibly ordering a couple. So yeah, really enjoyed that video, mate. Look forward to checking out the next one, which I believe is your Criterion collection. That's going to be a good one. Loved your social media break video, by the way. That was really, really good. You brought up, like Scott did when he took his, some very, very valid points. The constant scrolling, the constant pulling out of the phone when you're doing other things. It's not healthy, is it? It really isn't. I'm not too bad at it now. This is why you don't see much of me on the group during the week. I tend to not so much shy away from it, but I don't sort of bother too much with it during the week. I just sort of keep an eye on what's going on, make notes for the weekend, and then I tend to catch up on a lot of people's posts, normally on a Saturday morning. So while you're all watching Tony Time, I'm normally catching up on all your posts. So let's see. I mean, it's just a means to an end. Social media, it is just a means to an end. As I say, if it was for the friends side of it, I probably wouldn't bother with it at all. But the group is just so important to me and to everybody that's within it, obviously. So I would never ever get rid of Facebook just for that. But the actual making friend, I got a friend request from somebody yesterday. Never heard of them. Now, normally years ago, I'd have just accepted it, just blindly accepted it and not thought nothing about it. But now, if I don't know a person and they've only got like one, friend that you're in common with, I just delete it. Is that antisocial of me? I don't know. What do you think? But the other thing is, as you said, it does kind of kill your social skills away from the screen, and it does. I think it's partly right, partly the reason why I am the way I am now. Um, I'm a bit of a hermit. I get very nervous about meeting new people. You wouldn't think it looking at me doing this now, but as I've said before, if I met somebody in the street, I'd probably dry up. I wouldn't know what to say to them, and that's terrible, and I need to work on that. But social media, pretty much that's how it's sort of, how can you put it? You're okay chatting with people online all day, all night. You're sort of used to it, but away from that and in real life, it doesn't work as well. So no, social media, it's a double-edged sword, as you said, but I'm glad you got something out of it, as Scott did, and that the break did you good. I'm hoping Chris will say the same when we hear from him again, because I'm sure it makes a difference. And I was going to show you a few bits, let's see, to do with your Video Nasties video that you did. These are a few of my bits and pieces to do with that particular era, which I remember very, very well. Video Nasties, the definitive guide. Now that's part 2. That's part 1, and they did a part 2 of it. This is a series of documentaries. There are 3 discs in each set, to do with the history of the Video Nasties, what happened, all of that. I think you'd get a real kick out of that. It is still available. I think you can get copies of it on Amazon, and also on eBay, and they also followed that up with the same kind of thing, but part 2, more of the same. I've watched a couple of these. Fascinating stuff, really, really fascinating when you look at how mad and mental it was back then. And I've got a few books here that I've shown off before, guys, so just bear with me. There's that one, which is Obscene, Indecent, Immoral and Offensive, 100 Years of Censored, Banned and Controversial Films. Trash or Treasure, Censorship and the Changing Meanings of the Video Nasties. That's a good book, I've read that. Another one, based on the true story of court cases, cock-ups and collateral damage, set during that era. I love this one. VHS Ate My Brain. This is basically a history of sort of VHS, but it concentrates a lot on the Video Nasties era. And also, this is probably my favourite. I don't know whether you can still get this or not. Censored by Tom Dew Matthews. This is a history of censorship. I don't know whether it concentrates on the, or whether it bears any meaning with the American censorship, but it definitely deals with the BBFC, the British Board of Film Censors, as it was, and then it changed to classification in the 80s. But that is a cracking book. That goes into the history of censorship right from the start. So I'd recommend any of those if you get the chance to grab them, mate. You'd find them very interesting if you like that kind of thing, which you clearly do. So let's see what else have I got here. Rob Gear, morning Rob, messaged me last night and recommended a movie called Sausage Party. Never seen it. I know something of it. I do need to take a look at it at some point. Mark, you commented, never seen it, rather watch shit turn white. I'll take that as a negative then. Jason P replied, I turned it off after about an hour. I couldn't take no more. I couldn't work out what all the fuss was about. As you can tell, I've not watched the series either. Biggest pile of shit I've seen. Not impressed. Jimmy Lee Often, morning Jimmy. Once, many moons ago when I worked as a support worker, I'm glad the film was paid for and I for my time. Yeah. It's not gone down very well. Lee, I wouldn't bother. To balance it out, Jason K, our Ginger Ninja, absolutely, watch it now. Sure, you may never get that time back, but oh, I've got nothing, just watch it. So, based on that opinion alone, I will be taking a look at Sausage Party at some point. But I pretty much know what it's going to be like. If Seth Rogen has got anything to do with it, I pretty much know exactly what I'm in for. So let's see. Never seen it thread. I'm going to be doing a written review for the website of this one, because I think it's retro enough to warrant it. The Last Dragon from 1985. I was a bit hesitant with this one because it's not really my kind of film, but I guess that's the point of never seen. I really enjoyed it. I was well impressed. It is pure 80s cheese. It's got the most amazing soundtrack, mostly from the Motown label. I just thought it was really good. I watched it in actually 3 sections. But do you know what? I wouldn't mind watching it again, basically in one sitting. So, yeah, I enjoyed The Last Dragon. I will be doing a slightly more in-depth review of it on the website. But yeah, rest assured, Dave, I enjoyed it. So, bin it or keep it's back this week. The Lady in the Van. If you've not seen this, it is not bad as a comedy, sort of comedy drama type of thing. Basically, Maggie Smith plays dotty old Maggie Smith, which is what she does well. She plays an old lady who camps out on Alan Bennett's, that's the playwright Alan Bennett's, driveway in her old clapped out knackered van. She's only supposed to be staying there for sort of 2 or 3 days. She's there pretty much for 15 years. It's a really nice film. It's got some nice comic moments in it. Maggie Smith does what she does best, which is portraying dotty old ladies. But I really enjoyed it. Would I watch it again? Probably not. It's a bin it, but not because it's a bad film, but because I've seen it now, and that's pretty much all I need to know. So that's a bin it. Right, I've just got, let's see. Oh, there's one more little, quick review. I put a post on about Spider-Man No Way Home yesterday, basically saying, time to complete the Tom Holland trilogy. I'm told this one will blow my mind. Rob Gear, you commented, oh, it definitely will. Did it blow my mind? Not really. It was all right. It was good. It was a good finish to the trilogy. I really enjoyed it, but did it blow my mind? It confused the hell out of it. Am I the only one that can't get their head around this multiverse thing? I don't know whether I'm going to bother watching any more, which was going to be my next question. Do I bother with the animated Spider-Man Into the Multiverse movies? Because I don't know what it was. Maybe I'm just getting old. I don't know. Maybe this old head can't cope with it anymore. But I watched it, thoroughly enjoyed it. Visually, it is gorgeous to look at, absolutely stunning. The special effects, the CGI are absolutely first rate. It was great to see Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield again, and also all the villains that were in there. You got Doctor Octopus, the Green Goblin, the Lizard, Electro. Really good. Really good. But did it blow my mind? No, it just confused it. So, would I watch it again? Yeah, probably. I'm not going to dump that trilogy. I'm going to keep those. I just need to know whether to bother with the Spider-Verse ones, the animated ones, so let me know on that. Right, I'll very quickly run through 3 items that I've bought this week. It's slowing up a bit. I do need to ease off on it because I'm seriously starting to run out of room, and I'm supposed to be thinning out sort of books and sort of 4Ks and all this sort of thing, and I'm going the other way. So first one, Chris, you'll like this one. This is one of your favourite movies ever, The Lost Boys. I was looking for another movie, and I'm fucked if I can remember which one it was, but I came across this one on 4K for £12 something. I thought, you know what, I'll have a go at that. I read a lot of the reviews that basically say that the transfer is absolutely brilliant. So, and I've wanted this for a while anyway. So that's one. A book. 40 cult movies From Alice, Sweet Alice to Zombies of the Maury Towel. I read the reviews of this, which were absolutely blinding. I read a brief list of some of the movies that were in it and thought, you know what, these are movies that I've not seen in any of the other cult books that I've got, so I'll grab a copy of that. I've not read it yet, obviously. It's mostly text. There's not many pictures in it, but I don't think there needs to be. So I'm looking forward to getting into that one. And this will go very nicely with the Australian cinema season that I'm planning on kicking off. Brian Trenchard Smith directed a movie called The Man from Hong Kong. He also directed a lot of Ozploitation movies, which Turkey Shoot, I believe, is one of the most famous. And he did a book, and it's a massive one, Adventures in the B-Movie Trade by Brian Trenchard Smith. This is an absolute behemoth of a book, but it covers... There's no point in doing this. I'll do a proper run through of it, but I get the feeling he's going to be in a similar vein to Roger Corman. But I'm really looking forward to dipping into that. I don't know whether it's one to read from cover to cover. I could spend probably a year going through that one, but looking forward to getting into that one. So, right, I'm going to leave it at that, folks. The dreaded stammer has been creeping in over the last half hour. I don't know whether I'm going to be able to get rid of it. So I guess I'm just going to have to live with it and not beat myself up over the fact that it keeps happening. I will keep working on it, but for the moment it seems that I'm stuck with it. I don't know. You never quite know when it's going to strike. I can have one week when everything goes absolutely faultless, and I have other weeks when it just keeps creeping in. So thanks for bearing with me, guys. I'm going to disappear. I'll be back hopefully same time next week. Have a brilliant week. If you've enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, share, all that kind of thing. Have a brilliant week, folks, and I will talk to you all about the same time next week. Thanks again for joining me. Take care. Ta-da.